What you're looking at here is the final build status of my barreled action from Bergara. This here is a 7 PRC Carbon Cure Barrel Premier Series barreled action. So this has a 22-inch barrel, 1 in 8 twist. I took the action itself, they come barren. So I actually took the action, had it cerakoted Patriot brown. Once I did that, you don't get anything else with it. So right, you get just the barreled action, no trigger or anything like that. So after that though, trigger wise on here, this is a Triggertech Diamond trigger I put on here with the flat face. These go all the way down to basically like a half a pound, or they go down to ounces, I should say. And then they go up to about 3 pounds. So flat face, I was looking for something light that I could also easily adjust. But most importantly with this rifle, what I was going for was a full long range hunting setup that remained lightweight. This rifle, as you see sitting here with everything on it, it does not have the most lightweight options you could possibly have, but as you see this thing sitting, weighs 10.3 pounds. Okay, so 10.3 pounds set up. So this bipod itself, this is the lightweight ckye-pod from MDT. It's a double pull, so it's actually on the heavier side for bipods, but I think it's a great trade-off, especially as a hunter, just because of how much adjustment you can get with these bipods. If you're a hunter, you know you need that, and you can obviously see that there. In addition to that, with these bipods is how you can actually adjust them, panning and height and all that type of stuff. You could practically shoot sitting down with this double pull tripod. So that's really, really good to see. Obviously, if you're gonna shoot long range and you're gonna build a 7 PRC, that's what you want it to do. 22-inch barrel, some folks, you know, from reading forums, they don't feel that that's the optimal length. However, you see I have a suppressor on this gun. So this length isn't all that bad, and it's perfect for having a suppressor on here. The suppressor I have on here, this is an AB Raptor, the 7.62 can. This is actually their 8-inch model. It did come with a reflex. The reflex, what it does, is it actually adds like an expansion chamber onto the back and actually will help with sound suppression. Now, it does not fit with this barrel because the profile is a little bit on the thicker side for it, but overall the can does seem to perform pretty darn well. The Premier Series action is very smooth. It doesn't hang up, there's no wobble in it or anything like that. You know, I only have roughly about 18 rounds through here, just enough to get some velocity data out of it. I'm seeing about 2,800 feet per second as the average. 7 PRC, when it came out, already touted them as shooting, you know, almost 3,000 feet per second and pushing 175 or 180 grain projectiles at that speed. This does not do that. 22-inch barrel, you know, I still think this thing is, I shot the match out of it, and we're gonna shoot it today. We're at Southington Hunt Club. We can actually shoot out to 700 yards. So I'm gonna see if I can just knock out a 700 round or 700 yard impact. Basically first shot out of the gun, cold bore on the range. We'll see if I can do it. The rifle's certainly capable. 7 PRC is a very, very good, capable cartridge. Let's see, let's say drawbacks for some folks because they'd be concerned. The magazine itself, these are expensive. These are about $90 for this long action accurate mag. Now you can get these, they're sometimes hard to find, but I was able to find quite a few online. However, just one, this is a 5-round mag. It holds everything there, slaps in there nice and easy. Now the chassis, because it's basically another very important aspect of this rifle. This is the MDT Hunt 26 chassis. Again, I didn't go with the most lightweight option that MDT has for the Hunt 26. I wanted the ARCA because I wanted to be able to either clamp a bipod to it or a tripod. In addition to that, I also wanted the one that had the folding stock. So with the folding stock on here, it's 2-position basically. It locks into place, no issues there, and then you can close it pretty simply as well. You know, it's not something that like most folks should have any issue. It's very sturdy, it doesn't wobble. You can adjust the cheek height on there as well. Then it does have QD sockets that have steel inserts in there. Because this chassis itself is a very, very lightweight magnesium, you know, let's say composite type design that they did to get that lightweight. You'll notice here on the bottom, they actually have it cut out. What that's nice is to adjust your trigger. I don't have any issues adjusting my trigger for pull weight by simply sticking an Allen key down through the bottom. The grip on here is MDT carbon fiber. It feels pretty good. I might change it out for something a little bit more vertical in the future. And then it has a soft rubber butt pad. This rifle, I've shot it a few times now. I would probably say recoil-wise, it's less than a 7 Red Mag. And like I said, this thing is lightweight. However, take that bipod off here, this heavier bipod, take the can off this, and you're looking at a rifle because this weighs 20 ounces and then this weighs 8. It's a titanium can. You're looking at a rifle that you could ultimately shave 2 pounds off this thing by simply taking this off here. So you're looking at a rifle that's roughly 8 pounds without that stuff on there. Scope, 4.5 to 22 power Vortex HD, the LHT model. This is MOA base, and then I have a 20 MOA pick rail for MDT, and then the Area 419 hunt rings. Not familiar with Area 419 rings or mounts or really any of their products. They are absolutely fantastic. I think they're probably some of the most immaculately machined rings and options I've seen for rifle accessories on the market. They just do a really nice job. On top of the fact, you know, they're based out of Ohio. You know, their stuff's expensive. You know, I had to buy these. They didn't send them out to me or anything like that. You know, we did get the action, the chassis from those two companies. We talked about that before in a weekly raw dog. But this rifle today, like I said, we're going to shoot long range with it. I just have Hornady 7 PRC 180 grain match bullets that we're going to shoot out of it today just to kind of see how it actually performs. After that, we're going to do a future video. That future video will have multiple different out of the box hunting loads that we could try, and we may even end up working up a actual, say, custom load, reloading this rifle once we get enough brass cases. So, you know, that's really what we're looking for today. So let's get out here. We'll shoot out to 700 yards. We'll see how this thing performs. And you guys will ultimately get to tell me what you think of my 7 PRC build that I'm taking to Alaska to hunt caribou with. Something to discuss real quick before actually getting into shooting this. Obviously the 7 backcountry came out recently, and you know, they use a special case, bunch of different technology, quote unquote, 20-inch barrel, suppressor, 3,000 feet per second. There's some things that I want to actually, I don't want to say badmouth, but what they don't talk about is actually shooting heavier grain bullets. So 180 grain, 175 grain. That rifle, from everything I've watched on the internet, is not doing 3,000 feet per second with those. Obviously, everything's curated to an extent. I think it's a good overall round. And some of the bad talk that 7 PRC has gotten is that basically Hornady's box data, which shows 29.75, isn't accurate. Well, this is a 22-inch barrel. That's probably out of a 26, so it should be slower. On top of it, you know, likely the same powder. They're saying it's changed, but people who hand load these are regularly getting 3,000 feet per second out of 190 grain bullets, 175 with 22, 24-inch barrels. So the rifle itself, the cartridge 7 PRC, is basically a hand loader's dream when it comes to that. Now versus like the 7 backcountry, it's proprietary case technology that's different. You're gonna have a lot of differences, and also I'd be curious to see how those rifles hold up long term versus like a 7 PRC. It's not using a belted cartridge like you get out of a 7 Red Max. You're getting less recoil with better ballistics. So let's shoot this thing. Again, I've got 5 bullets loaded up here. Got our data and all that stuff. We're also gonna use this time to collect some good speeds on the rifle itself and see how it performs. Again, this rifle is what I built out, so it's very, very new. Like I said, I got a rough 0 on it, or close enough for this, and we're gonna give it a go. Let's look for some data here. All right. Okay. So it's a 15 MOA hold on this steel. Let's give it a go. Elevation good? So no wind hold. That is a hammer. Is that high? One more. So, first shot out of the gun was actually too much of a wind hold. I was just holding left edge. It's an M6 size steel target out there. Miss. All right, elevation was perfect. That's a 15 MOA. Come up on there, and then after that, the second hit, dead center of the target, 15 MOA. Next few were that, and then the wind did change or pick up a little bit. The last one I held left edge, direct center impact. So 3 out of 5. This rifle now has a grand total of 22 rounds through it. I'm getting an average of 27.75, and my data was actually at 2,800 because that's what I shot it at the other day. Max was 27.94, so spread is not too bad here. Overall, not too many rounds through it, but let's see if we can get a couple more impacts. We'll come back a little closer. 600 yards, you know, 700, you're really starting to push the boundaries for what most shooters are capable of. And, you know, I think 600, you're getting closer. 500, you know, is probably a real good one. So let's see what this thing can do at 5. I've killed a few animals now at 500 yards. It's not too bad. You know, you're just not having to deal with wind too much. So let's see what kind of data we need for 500. So about 8.5. So there's a 500-yard berm out there. We're gonna shoot at that. I got 3 loaded up. It's a 12 by 12 square. I don't think wind really messes with this too much at all. Yeah, it's 3 direct impacts at 500 yards. I mean, Colin, does that wind even mess with that at all? That was dead center hold. What is it, like probably a 5-mile-an-hour wind? Yeah, I mean, so, you know, I mean, I don't, guys, like I said, we took this rifle, we built this thing out of the box. All right, let's talk about cost, because it's not the cheapest. Your action is $1,600. The chassis, they're about $15. If you shop around, you can probably find one. It's a long action MDT chassis. The scope itself, you could usually find them for about $1,000. The rings are a couple $100. So, you know, we're getting into a range now that the total amount that I have invested in this rifle is a lot. You could go cheaper. You don't even need a $1,000 glass. You could go with a cheaper stock if you wanted to, a cheaper chassis, and it'll do all that stuff. But guys, let's respect this for a second. This rifle is completely set up. It's ready to hunt out of the box. Within 22 rounds, ultimately, I'm making first round impacts at, let's say 700 or 500 rounds. That's 3 rounds, 500 yards, no issue, less than 25 rounds through the gun. It's obviously extremely accurate. The 7 PRC recoil-wise, I could sit here and practice with this gun all day long. It is not a bad recoil cycle whatsoever. It feels really good. You know, our average we're getting out of those 8 shots now, we're at 2779, so it's 2780 almost, and then the max is 2799. Our standard deviation is probably pretty darn good. It's actually going to be less than 15. So really, you know, regular old box ammo from Hornady stuff is shooting pretty darn good. Just out of curiosity, you know, the rifle it's a little bit on the warm side. It's about 35 degrees right now. Let's take this thing out to 600 yards. 3 rounds, see how it does. This just goes to show you guys, you don't have to go and buy an off-the-shelf rifle. You can put this together. You know, if you have a torque wrench, a couple Allen keys, you know, because you have to torque to action how it goes. You have a generalized idea how to put stuff together, and you just like, let's say, just being precise. So using levels and all that type of stuff, you're fine. And you of course don't need, you know, a $700 bipod. Those are expensive. You don't need them. They have cheaper ones from MDT. They'll work. This thing's great. Suppressor on there is nice. You can shoot all day and it's not going to blow your eardrums out. You go out on to hunt and you crack one off with a 7 PRC with a muzzle brake, and that sucker's going to make your ears ring. So let's see what this thing can do at 6. So far our dope looks like it's been pretty good. 1175. Yep. Okay. Colin, where's that last one? Good. So the first one was a miss, right? Okay. So I just didn't hold for any wind on 600. The next one didn't hold again for any wind. I actually got a hit on the right edge. The left one I held just an MOA, just basically the left edge of a 12-inch square out there, and direct center impact. The gun's super accurate, obviously. You know, this, you know, I'll tell you, I don't think it would be that hard for a novice shooter to do this right now. I think the rifle is very capable. You know, we're about $27.99 on the max. Average is $27.77. Again, energy-wise, you know, 180 grain slug going 27, almost 2,800 feet per second is going to kill any elk you shoot within 700 yards or probably more than that for a skilled shooter. For a 500-yard shot, a novice shooter could easily make that shot with just a little bit of practice, right? I don't think you got to be a freaking marksman, but really, guys, this rifle is 1.6 setup. I'm super happy with it. For me to go out and buy, like, you know, most other rifles on the market, they kind of leave you wanting something. This rifle, everybody that's touched it picks it up and like, man, that's freaking sweet. I mean, it basically leaves you without needing anything. It's perfect how it sits. I don't feel like I want anything else with this rifle. But with all that being said, this is match ammo. You know, Hornady has their Precision Hunter, Federal has a bunch of stuff, and in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to try some other, you know, factory loads out there and take this thing out. We're going to shoot it. We'll see how this thing does for speed wise. I'd like to see that 3,000, see what it does. But the 7 PRC at 700 yards, 600 yards, 500 yards is just not a hard task to do. It's very simple to do with this setup. And like I said, we came from shooting some 308s before this. You know, I'm a little bit more of a advanced shooter than the average person, you know, maybe even the average hunter. But man, I bet I could give this to my dad and he can come out here and sling it. And, you know, even Joe would have a hard time. So really, guys, good setup here. Stay tuned for a future video where we cover all the different hunting loads on the market. We'll see how this thing does for accuracy, but I pretty much don't need to tell you, if I'm getting, you know, 3 direct impacts at 500 yards after the barrel already has 5 shots through it, it's obviously very capable. I mean, you could definitely kill some darn animals with this thing, but stay tuned for that future video.